What's up, Panda Nation? Peter from Panda here. Hey, I just bought myself something. It's from Sunnydaze, apparently, and the description is a fireside log rack with tool holders. So if you have a fireplace or a wood-burning stove or something like that, maybe just a fire pit outside, I discovered this thing to, keep not only like my fire starters, but kindling, as well as some logs together, kind of in with easy access to all of it. As you know, maybe when you make those fires, you're kind of looking for stuff, or you've got them stacked, or scattered around your room near the fire pit, but maybe not on it. And actually, some of my fireplace tools I just have laying on the ground. And so what I wanted to do is just kind of have something that was a little bit more organized and attractive, and be able to keep everything. So in my case, when I'm lighting a fire, I usually use like some newspaper or a fire starter, or maybe the kindling. I showed you a review of some of that, and then I put the logs on top of that and light it up. Now this kind of thing is cool because it's actually like two levels. Quick showing you what we have here is a little bag of nuts and bolts. Looks like all the nuts are on the bolts, so that's kind of nice. We also have what looks like, I won't call it powder coated, but the whole thing here looks like it's painted black. We have a couple of brackets here. They're curved. I think that's kind of to hold either the logs, or kind of from the top 2/3 up of the rack. We also have this tray, this bottom tray, and that's going to be, I think, the bottom of it. And if we just take a look at the sides here, square metal tubing, and we have little hooks on both sides. So your chimney brush, your shovel, your scissor log grabbers, you can put all that stuff on there. They don't do any type of like kind of faux finish. It looks like, sometimes they'll do like a tan undercoat or something to kind of give it a bronze look. Looks like everything is just pretty much black. I don't know if I call it like a black, maybe more of an espresso. Now, one of the comments that I've heard here as I'm opening up the bag of hardware that I read was, especially when you're in this price point, I don't think you can expect a lot. It's not going to look like a really rich or expensive piece of equipment. But one of the comments was, oh, I wish that they had painted the hardware on it because the silver nuts on everything that are exposed kind of give it a cheap, mass-produced look. Now, I will say that these are going to be pretty bright against the black. You could probably take, black nail polish or a black paint pen and cover those up, and maybe, I think, add more perceived value to it by just doing some small things like that. But at about 50 bucks, this was one of the cheapest log racks I could find. There's one-page instruction here, and it looks like it's pretty simple. Tray goes on the bottom, the supports go above it, and the sides just kind of get all bolted on. So let me do it. There is no tool included, so it looks like it's all going to be tools that you're going to have on hand. Looks like a Phillips screwdriver on one side, and then the locking nut on the other. So you might need a little wrench to do that too. Probably looks like about 10 millimeters to me. So let's go ahead and start doing it. All right, guys, so here's the finished product. Now I'm gonna complain a little bit, and hopefully the time lapse on this is really long, because it actually took forever to put this thing together, and I've got some complaints about it. For as simple as it is, obviously you're just bolting on this bottom tray, one bolt in each side, and then these crossbars, 2 bolts on each side. First of all, the locking nuts that they use on it are so tight, you cannot do it by hand. I couldn't grip the screwdriver hard enough to be able to overcome like the filler that they have there, and so I had to use power tools. Now, when you were using power tools, though, the problem there was that basically the metal that they use for these nuts is so soft. Basically, I was just stripping them. I was tightening them until they were so stripped I couldn't tighten them anymore. And I actually have like little metal shavings all over my table here. And so that's kind of a big problem. They're not really super robust metal hardware. The fit and finish is a little loose. I want to show you here too that you can see the thing rocks a little bit on the table, right? Now, under the weight of wood, that might be a little, kind of might settle down a little bit, but I think even still it's going to rock, so you're probably going to have to shim, one of the corners, or at least in my case. but it will work. And I honestly, the bolts are such a problem. I almost thought about stopping and going to Home Depot and just buying some regular nuts and bolts and doing this thing on my own. Now I get why they give you these, because they're the perfect length. Once you get the nut on, you don't have any extra bolt hanging off or anything like that, so it gives it kind of a tight finished look. But like I said, there's a little wobble, and you know, I think it'll work fine, I'm sure. And it looks okay, you know, like I said, for the $50 one, you know, it seemed like you had to go up in price point to about $70 to kind of step up a little bit, but you know, $50 is perfect for me. And you know, it's pretty tall too, so you do have plenty of space down here, you know, my whole hand, to kind of put your kindling and your fire starters or even your matches or your lighter. And then you have pretty much almost like 2 feet here that you can kind of stack wood, and it's about 1 foot wide, so you can have a pretty decent amount of logs there, definitely more than you'll need to keep a fire going in your fireplace for the evening. And then, as I said here, the hooks for hanging your tools. So overall, like I said, 50 bucks. I wasn't expecting the world. I didn't get the world on it, but I think it's a fine value and it's really going to be useful. I'm glad they had the shape. But if you're going to do it and you have extra bolts at home, maybe you do a lot of housework and you have a kit of bolts, I would probably recommend busting those out, because the hardware they include here just stinks. Too hard to use. That's my opinion on it. I'll put a link to it in the description if you want to pick it up. Peter von Panda out.